Kia ora. Taking a look at the satellite picture across the New Zealand from this morning, there's plenty of fine weather in store. A touch more cloud around those more eastern parts of the North Island. You can see that high cloud down in the south. Now that is ahead of some wetter weather we've got coming towards us on Friday, but generally things are looking much more settled across most of New Zealand. We'll just take a bit of a step out and have a look across the Tasman Sea out towards the Coral Sea at Tropical Cyclone Kirrily. That was named yesterday evening and it is set to move westwards in towards Queensland. The team over at the Bureau of Meteorology have got some warnings in place for parts of Queensland. Keep up to date with the information from them for where the system is set to move. But for New Zealand, it is looking like it's moving away from us, so it's not going to directly impact us as we head through the next few days. However, we have got some wetter weather, so if we step back towards New Zealand, as we head through the night time tonight, Thursday into Friday, we'll still find a few showers around those eastern hills of the North Island, but generally things are looking relatively dry for many of us. You can see we've already started to find a bit more in the way of cloud and showers down in the far south, and as we head into Friday, we'll find more of that wet weather on towards that western coast and some heavy rainfall to come through later on the day. Ahead of that, some strengthening winds. But you can see as we go through night across the North Island, there's plenty of dry weather in store. Now, temperature-wise, we'll find our lows back down to lows around about 8 degrees Celsius through those inland parts of the North Island. Similar kind of values through parts of Canterbury as well. But on the whole, things are relatively cool compared to those very warm, muggy nights we've seen recently. So hopefully much more comfortable for many of us as we try and get some sleep in. As we head through Friday, we are going to find across most of the North Island there's plenty of dry, fine and settled weather. It's these features running in from the west which will be bringing heavy rainfall and strengthening winds across the South Island as we head through Friday. It's quite late in the day it arrives towards this eastern side, but you can see as we head towards the end of the day that rain ramps up and those winds will be increasing as well. So well worth keeping an eye on the forecast for places like Fiordland, Westland and even across in towards parts of Canterbury and Otago as well. For the North Island though, Friday is still looking like a pretty decent day. Most of us will get away with a dry story. There is a ribbon of showers likely just through parts of Northland and Auckland to start the day, but you'll be very unlucky to see those. I think many spots will stay dry through the daytime. A bit of cloud to watch out for, perhaps pushing in towards parts of Tairāwhiti through the morning time. But for many of us, it's a fine, dry and settled day with some decent spells of sunshine, helping to lift our daytime highs back to around about 25 degrees Celsius. Down in towards Wellington, 22 degrees Celsius during the daytime, 16 or so overnight, so a very warm night in the capital there. Similar kind of values to what we'll see overnight in Auckland as well. Heading down towards the South Island, that's where we see most of our activity for that second half of Friday. You can see though, we start off plenty of sunshine for Nelson, Marlborough, Canterbury and Otago. As we head through the daytime, we'll find that cloud on that western coast thicken up and we will find some showers develop and turn to some longer spells of rain with those northerly winds increasing as well, especially around those coastal areas. By the end of the day, that cloud spills across out towards the east. We will find some showers developing through parts of Otago and perhaps in towards those southern parts of Canterbury, just where you get those northerly winds combining with those northwesterlies. But it will be this wet weather on the western coast that will spill across in towards the east as well. So we have got some severe weather watches and warnings in place for those second parts of the day. Now there's watches that run from Fiordland, north about Doubtful Sound, right the way up in towards the Grey District and up in towards Buller, and that rain being pushed across by northwesterly winds will be feeding towards the headwaters of the Canterbury lakes and rivers as well, and perhaps even the Otago ones as well. These watches generally overnight Friday into towards Saturday for those southern areas and during Saturday morning for those northern areas. We have also got this warning for heavy rainfall through Westland, as much as 150 to 200 millimetres of rainfall about the ranges from 9 p.m. on Friday through to 9 a.m. on Saturday. But as well as the wet weather, we've also got those strengthening north or northwesterly winds, strengthening in parts of, say, Fiordland from as early as 9 p.m. on a Friday. And you can see overnight again for parts of the Canterbury High Country, parts of inland Southland and the Queenstown Lakes area, overnight Friday into Saturday. And there's even a watch as well for strengthening winds through Wellington first thing on Saturday as well. You can find out more about these watches and warnings on the Met Service website. Over the next couple of days, we are still going to find our temperatures pretty warm down the south island, particularly in that eastern side. Highs around about 23, 24 degrees Celsius. Nowhere near as hot as we saw recently, but still a pretty decent day. And our overnight temperatures, very warm indeed. 17 our minimum temperature for Christchurch there. Now, it is a long weekend for some of us as we go through this weekend. We're going to find on Saturday it's a wet start to that long weekend for parts of Nelson and Buller, but that rain will clear away pretty quickly, moving up on towards the north side, around towards places like Taranaki, Waitomo, and across in towards, say, the Kapiti Coast and Manawatu. By the end of the day, the feature has weakened away a fair bit, and it's an improving story down the south island. Plenty of clear sky to end the day through there. You can see we've still got a few showers in the far south. Keep an eye, though, on that area of low pressure out towards the Tasman Sea. As we head through Sunday, that moves closer towards us and throws a fair amount of rain across the North Island, and we'll find some strengthening winds with that as well. So there could be some severe weather watches and warnings, and as we head towards the end of the day, we're likely to find this band of heavy rainfall just moving across Northland and Auckland for your Sunday afternoon through towards the evening time. So well worth keeping an eye on the forecast and to get the timings of that as we head through that long weekend. But a pretty decent looking day down towards Nelson and Buller, and across many parts of the South Island, a few showers springing up further inland, but plenty of dry weather. If you are lucky enough to have Monday off, here's how Monday shapes as well. We are going to find that low pressure moves northwards, still feeding some of that rainfall in towards those eastern parts of the North Island, parts of Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, Tairafti, and also Wairarapa. You can see a bit of a clearance up through those northern parts, so hopefully a bit of a drier day there. Do keep an eye on the winds. And down in the far south, we are looking at the high pressure building over, and generally a better, brighter day through there. A touch more cloud perhaps around those eastern parts of Marlborough, but I think driest weather across the South Island as we head in towards Sunday and Monday. But we have got a fairly active system on the North Island. As always, you can find the latest forecast for your area at metservice.com.